West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Good morning. I'm Peter Boyles in for the fellows. They'll be back on Monday. We have today, tomorrow, and Saturday. 710 KNUS coming up. Todd Hills and my friend Brando, Devil's Head. We got a motorcycle show on Saturday, and then Greg Carrillo with us, a top fuel dragster, and tomorrow Dr. Daddy-O, Jimmy Walker. In the meantime, hit the button for the Blake Olson Report.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
There he is.
Hey, good morning, Pete.
Hey,
what
buddy.
a show, man. That was so great to hear Tom.
Oh, yeah.
And Purifoy, a legend, and Martino, a legend.
Yeah.
God, great stories.
And he's fought cancer, and he's...
Yeah, he looks great, by the way.
Yeah, oh, listen.
He is so talented, man, that guy.
All the work and everything that we did. And then we got a motorcycle show this weekend, and
Wow.
all kinds of... Did you grow up here in town?
I did. And you know what? When I saw Tom up there, I've never even met Tom, I don't think. But my brother and I, my younger brother, I have two older smart brothers, and then my younger brother and I were really stupid. We got into this business, right? But we were fascinated by broadcasting and radio growing up in Longmont, actually. And so my younger brother's first career day was with Martino when he was in 4th grade, I think. And now my brother works at Channel 9. He's been there forever. But he was with Martino on his career day, and he would talk about that forever, just about they went out to lunch and Martino's personality and everything that he learned about it. And he couldn't have had a better career day ever in his life. I think he was in 4th or 5th grade. He came back, and he couldn't stop talking about it for years. So every time I see Martino, I think about that.
No, we had us a time, and that was a more rough and tumble time too. There were fights, and he talked about seeing a typewriter thrown across a room. That was nothing.
Exactly.
Oh yeah,
I've heard the stories.
They're all true.
Your shop. Yeah.
Things got settled differently than.
Yeah, we never had those in TV.
Did they or did they not?
We did. I mean, there was crazy stuff that would go on, but I'm going to say it probably wasn't as violent as the radio stories that I've heard.
Oh, radio's nuts. And
it was great stories. So.
And you tell people about it, and they say, well, I'm trying to write some of it. And, some of those stories were, okay, there's another way to settle this, and then you knew what was going to happen, and it happened. So anyhow, there's so much more now on Donald Trump and what's taking place, and we'll talk about it in the next segment when we come on together. We'll talk more about Jeffrey Epstein. But I got two guys on the wait right now, so news is all yours. Here's Blake.
We'll get it going. Good morning. Thursday in Denver, 74 with clouds, expecting a high of 89 today. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, the murder trial of former Aurora dentist James Craig, accused of poisoning and killing his wife, is getting underway. Attorney Stephen Longo, who's not connected to the case, explained that the juror process is so important. Craig was arrested after his wife Angela died in 2023. Investigators say he poisoned her. Craig also faces charges for allegedly trying to derail the murder investigation by soliciting perjury and tampering with evidence, and for allegedly trying to hire an inmate to kill a detective. Police in Aurora say 24-year-old James Woodward was shot, who was shot in a parking lot last week, has died from his injuries. He reportedly died in the hospital on Wednesday. The case is still under investigation, and no arrests have been announced. Search teams, including that Colorado crew in Central Texas, racing to find more than 170 people still missing after the devastating floods. The death toll has climbed to at least 120, 5 campers and a counselor unaccounted for. 2 facilities in the Springs and a few more across Colorado and Wyoming could be used as potential ICE detention sites. Several companies named at least 6 locations as the agency looks to expand with mass deportations on the rise. The one in Aurora can only hold over 1,500 people. Wall Street opens after a strong finish Wednesday, with the NASDAQ hitting a record close and tech stocks driving gains. Over a month ago, the left was telling us the financial world was destroyed. A little different story recently. Rockies fall to the Red Sox 10-2. Dion at the Big 12 Media Day says he's healthier and he'll be back on campus soon. Season starts in about a month and a half, college football, for the Buffs and all the teams up and down the Front Range and in Laramie at the University of Wyoming. WNBA star Caitlin Clark returned from injury Wednesday, scoring 10 points against Golden State, but her team loses 80-61. 72 in Lone Tree, 70 in Boulder, 74 in Denver. And Pete the Legend in for Jeff and Billy this week. He continues. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Warm this morning with another hot day for your Thursday, but temperatures a little bit lower than the last couple. As highs today, low to mid-90s. Cold front arrives late. Will be some scattered strong and maybe isolated severe thunderstorms this Thursday afternoon and evening. Lows near 60. Enjoy mid-80s for highs Friday and Saturday. Scattered afternoon and evening storms. Lows near 60. Weather presented by Colorado's Best Roofing. Has hail damaged your home or business? Colorado's Best Roofing offers expert hail damage assessments and assistance with insurance claims. Schedule your free inspection at roofingcolorado.com. Visit roofingcolorado.com today. I'm meteorologist Mark Huer in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
And good morning, everyone. As Blake said, Peter Boyle's in for the fellas back on Monday. It's a Thursday, July the 10th, 2025, 710 KNUS, and it's going to be another hot day. In the meantime, weather looks good for Saturday. I'm going to bring 2 men on who are just my true favorites. First, Todd Hills. We go back years and years and years together in motorcycling and having a good time. And, of course, now he is the proprietor of the Wide Open Saloon, and the saloon a favorite stop of mine. It's down in Salina. And also, and I've just recently become friends with him, and he does unbelievable work. And Brando's with us from Devil's Head. So first of all, hey, Todd, good morning, and thanks for coming on the show. You there?
Hey, yeah, good morning, Pete. How you doing this morning?
I'm actually very, very good. And Brando, you there, my brother? You there?
Yes, sir, I am. Peter the Great is a fantastic way to be introduced.
So the Devil's Head Chopper Saturday is this coming Saturday, the 10th annual. Which one of you 2 guys wants to sell it? It's
Get after it, Brando. It's my event anyway. So this is exactly year of doing a bike show, and this year we've decided to do it at Wide Open Saloon. We've outgrown our facility, our shop, our parking lot, and Todd was gracious enough to offer to do it at his Wide Open Saloon over in Sedalia. And so this is going to be a great event. Let me go back in history, 9 years. We'd been open for a couple years, and we decided let's do a grand opening. And that's what people do. And we did a bike show for that because I didn't really like bike shows. So let's do it our way. So went ahead and did that. It was a great turnout. The second year of doing it, it was so big I got arrested. The cops wanted it shut down. So now, fast forward 9 years, and this is our 10th one. This is going to be great. My only goal is to not be arrested. But it is so much fun. If you've got a nice bike, and or if you just want to hang out and see nice bikes, this is a great event.
Todd, why? I've gotten to know Brando really well, and I love him. Well, how did you meet? How did you two guys meet, and why was the decision made to have Devil's Head at the Wide Open?
Well, I think Brando and I met because, as you know, I got a lot of motorcycles, and most of the time none of them run because they just sit in the garage because I don't have time to. I don't have time to ride them. So every year or every 2 years, I have to, call Brando and say I need, 8 or 10 batteries. And then, Brando hooks me up. He's always very kind and sends somebody to get, one bike at a time or 2 bikes at a time to get them back on the road. And as a matter of fact, he just did another one, the tequila bike he had to come get because it's been sitting for about 2 years. And he gave me the battery, and I'm, mechanically inclined enough to put a battery in, but that's about as far as it goes. And then I took it for a ride, and it what I felt was a little death wobble. So I called my test pilot up, Brando, and I said, hey, can you come get this thing so that, I can put myself and my wife on it and feel safe? And, of course, he came right out and got it, and we're back on the road today. But we're real excited to hold the Devil's Head Chopper bike show. It's actually, we've been in business 5 years. We opened in 2020. And I've always talked about a bike show, but we've never pulled one off. So we're super, super excited to pull this off with Devil's Head. It's going to be a great day.
I'm going to enter. I'm going to leave here at 1 o'clock on Saturday, come like the wind. And I've asked him, I said, hey, can I come down tomorrow and detail my bike? He said, no, you can do it Saturday at Todd's.
Yeah, I think
it's a lot more interesting. There's the bikini bike wash.
The bikini bike wash. I want to, I won one time, and I've it gets in your blood. Well, I'm going to go try to win again at Devil's Head Chopper, which I got no chance. It's the 10th annual bike show, but I want to go, and it's between 12 and 4, and it's everything. It's like a pre-Sturgis warm up. And you'll see the most amazing bikes. I mean, if you're a motorcycle geek or you ride, come and see it. If you've never been to Todd's, it's really worth it. And if you've never been down to Devil's Head and meet the infamous Lou, is there anybody better than Lou? Brent?
Yeah, there is. Just me.
Just you? But Lou's the
man.
No,
actually, Lou is our ace mechanic, and he could pull off some pretty impressive stuff. So
he taught me stuff.
We really love him.
Yeah, he taught me.
There's no observing the Lou.
Yeah, no, Lou's the man. So Devil's Head, the Choppers, Saturday, and I'm going to have Brando back on Saturday, July the 12th. Hey, Todd, by the way, give a plug to your new restaurant as well, because we had breakfast there, and it was great. Would you give that place a plug, too?
Absolutely. So it's Wide Awake Eatery, downtown Castle Rock. Right at 115 Wilcox. It's a great breakfast spot, open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. And, we put a twist on your classic breakfast items, and we deliver biscuits and gravy like you've never seen biscuits and gravy. We got Bananas Foster's French toast that is just absolutely an amazing dish. And if you happen to order that dish, don't share it with anybody because you won't get the plate back. So lots of good stuff down there, and it's a really cool spot. It's got the best patio in Castle Rock, and like I said, we're open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. So you got to come give it a try.
I tell you what, I've had great adventures with Todd Hills. I mean, legitimately great adventures, and starting out now with Brando and his family, and now all the guys that work with him and ride with him. These are really special people. And when I bail out of here at 1 o'clock on Saturday, I'll come full throttle, come down, enter in, and see, just to do it, but to see the guys and everybody. These are special guys. Todd Hills, Brando, thank you. By the way, do you have a first name for the new baby that's coming, Brando?
Yes. It's the new baby is going to be named after me, Brandon Eugene Mize Jr.
Wow.
And that's completely Allie's doing.
That's a special family, and Todd, of course, and his wife are special as well. I love you both. Todd, I'll see you Saturday, and Brando, I'll give you a call later on this afternoon. Thanks.
All right, appreciate it.
Thanks, you guys. Okay, we go to open lines, 303-696-1971. I don't know where you want to go. I would like to go back to the Epstein files, and this is changing as we speak. Now, I was surprised to hear, and again, there's some, by the way, there's coming up is Greg Carrillo's on the show. He's a top fuel driver. And what is it like to ride a top fuel? We used to call them rails. What's that like? And then tomorrow, if you grew up in Denver, and there was a black station, there's a black we call them O&O, owned and operated. And it was owned and operated by a guy named Jimmy Walker. And Jimmy and I became friends, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago. And his moniker on the air was Dr. Daddy-O, the Daddy-O House Party. And Jimmy's going to join us tomorrow, along with Brother Jeff, and I'm really looking forward to that. Like talking to Martino this morning and Jimmy Walker, and it's going to be good radio. And 303-696-1971 is our phone number. Lines are wide open. 25 years, no, it'd be 20 years after Epstein was exposed for his child sex abuse enterprise. The Justice Department this week, and I no more believe this any more than fly to the moon, this startling, rather than the dozens of victims previously alleged by the government and by the media, the Justice Department now said there was, and again, at one time said there was over 1,000 victims. Over 1,000 victims. Everybody's talking about Epstein again. The MAGA types are furious. The Trump administration is not producing a supposed client list. How many people think, how many of you believe that the AG's head is on the block? How many of you believe that what we're watching happen now is only the beginning? This is, how deep do you think this goes? Is this a Watergate-esque moment where there is much more than what you and I are now hearing? The CIA, they're talking about everything that went on inside of Israel. They're talking about, was Epstein a gun runner? What was he concealing? And then you go to the AG, and the AG, well, is she lying? And then you look at Bongino, and I am a Bongino fan. Cash Patel, did you see them? They're squirming in their seats. And I mean, we used to get Bongino on the air, and he was a great guest. I don't think that will happen now because of his position. But this type of lying, it radicalizes people. And the pro-Trump news accounts, the accounts that are followed by several members of the Trump administration, and they've been sending people out, and they've been appearing on Fox News, this Kingsley Wilson, and they're trying to lie. Do you think lies are being told? If there were thousands of victims, which I believe there were, in a convicted sex trafficking ring, and now someone is saying there was no customers when the operation happened right before our very eyes, it insults my intelligence, whatever is left of it. They trafficked women on airplanes to the island. That's sex trafficking. That's one of the beefs on Diddy, if you remember that. There are dark forces, as someone quoting Orwell. Orwell always talked about dark forces. And are you a skeptic of this? I certainly am. Epstein's death has become the JFK assassination of our generation. And there's now some new stuff has come out on Harvey Oswald as well. Skepticism about the JFK assassination and the commission itself. It's the so-called Warren Report, which I don't think anybody believes. So we're heading down that same long, or maybe it's a question, are we heading down that same long road again with Donald Trump, the DOJ, and the FBI? These are bizarre, and the FBI, these are bizarre stunts, and they're sweeping promises, serving only to cement his death, and they're taking away from conspiracy. So your turn, 303-696-1971. Donald Trump's Department of Justice denies the Epstein conspiracy theories. Even MAGA uproar is now beginning. What do you believe? Late Sunday night, you watched this. I watched it. And the report came to the Department of Justice and the FBI concluding that billionaire pedophile Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide. Number one, do you believe that? Number two, do you believe this is the beginning of the JFK, like another JFK long, long road? Is this the JFK of this time? I think there's something to that. Epstein's dead. All right. We've got a bunch of text messaging here. I 100%. I think they're lying and that Trump is on the client list. I see. They just showed a picture of Todd's place. Somebody's driving by, took a picture and sent it to us. Musk now, who has totally turned on Donald Trump, Musk appears to have really deleted. Well, he started out with these tweets, and this was the original tweet. They copied it. The real reason they have not been made public, said Musk, after souring out on Trump, announcing that because Donald Trump is there. Then he also says Brandon is there. Going on from that, the department's memo comes not long after the Trump ally turned, they call frenemy or his enemy. Musk claimed that Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. After souring on Trump, Musk recently announced the formation of a new political party and dubbing it the American Party, and Musk says Trump's there. All right, I turn it over to you, 303-696-1971. We'll take it. It's all yours. What do you think we're watching happen? This is not going away. Epstein files and the memo. Then why is Maxwell still in jail if none of this stuff happened? Your turn. We have two lines open, 710 KNUS. Lines are full. It's a Thursday, July the 10th, 2025. I'm Peter Boyles, 710 KHOW. Go to the phones. We will begin with Stephen on line 1. Stephen, thanks, man. You're on a radio show. Good morning.
Good morning, Peter. I wanted to talk to you about, there's this, I had it up here, Trump's Secretary of Labor in the first administration was Alexander Acosta. I think I have that name correct. And he had to resign over this lenient plea deal that he made with Epstein in 2018. Are you aware of all that?
I read that book, the book about the guy who has pursued Epstein. He's a private sector attorney and finally gets him arrested in New York when he lands in his jet.
Yeah, this guy's name is Alexander Acosta.
Yeah.
And he was a U.S. attorney in Florida, and they arrested Epstein, and it was such a minor plea deal where he let him go out on the weekends and all this stuff.
Sure. I remember all of that.
And then he was Trump's Secretary of Labor, and he had to resign. So, I mean, there have been victims all along. There were victims in the trial of Maxwell.
Listen, the names of the hundreds and now indeed possibly thousands of, and also you got victims and you have Johns. You have sex predators, Epstein's clients. They've never been revealed by the government. In fact, now they say they don't exist. And Pam Bondi's Justice Department eventually, or evidentially, doesn't have the stomach or the inclination to go much deeper into this matter. And you can't see this any other way. I mean, this is, I came up with this last night. It's probably not true, but is this the JFK stuff of our time? Where will the truth be? And
if they wanted it to go away, they couldn't have handled it worse, because this has ignited, a whole chunk of MAGA.
Oh, I mean, seemingly the one person that doesn't want to talk about it is Donald Trump. And remember at that news conference, he blunted it and he said, "Are you still talking about Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years." He calls him a creep. And Bondi's sitting there and makes a damn fool of herself. Bongino, and I like Cash Patel and I like Bongino, but they're sweating. I mean, the body language on those two guys, and they're, I think, very decent men.
Well, being the couple things. This Leslie Wexler, he's the Victoria's Secret guy.
Yeah, he gave him the house.
Exactly. Yeah. And his backers are just astonishing. And how in the world did that happen?
They think it's a blackmail operation, was what is believed, but I don't know any of it to be true. I'm just telling you what I read.
Yeah.
And I'll read this to you. This 2-page memo issued by the two agencies that was obtained by Axios also states that Epstein wasn't engaged in blackmail operations, did not have a client list of people. This is what the Department of Justice and the FBI put out, that Epstein did not engage in blackmail, did not have a client list of people who believed to have been engaged in sex crimes against women and girls alongside of him. The DOJ released surveillance video from outside Epstein's prison cell in the Metropolitan Correctional Center, meant to help show that no one could have entered and murdered him. Do you buy any of that?
Oh, no. Particularly the blackmail. And,
of course,
the bizarre nature goes on and on. Epstein did not graduate from MIT or Harvard. He gave millions of dollars to him over the years. And then when everything hit the fan, they didn't
bailed.
accept anymore. Yeah. They gave it back.
Yeah, he doesn't exist. So, I mean, Trump...
The blackmail is obvious.
Oh, please. And he apparently, and then he retracted it, said that he worked for the CIA, and then later said that wasn't true. But most people believe he was a Mossad agent. He also was perhaps an arms dealer, perhaps a CIA operative. Who knows? And that Saudi passport was really that was very telling too. So last night I was reading late, trying to gear up for today, and it dawned on me: is this the JFK? And I don't think. Well, it's interesting to ask the question: is this the JFK mystery of our time?
Well, it may be. It's not a president shot in broad daylight.
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And Kennedy's an iconic figure. He's one.
And by the way, Donald Trump in a campaign speech promised the voters that he would take a hard look at the Epstein case when he becomes president. Has he
100%? That's the kicker.
Yeah.
It's not that the Democrats or the right race. I mean, the left race this issue. It's like so many things. MAGA made it an issue. Now MAGA is messing it up.
Well, some of the MAGA people are really upset. Let me read this to you. It said we got a lot of text messaging. Epstein was murdered after his consent yesterday. You were talking about insurance policies. Could the client list be Trump's insurance policy? Epstein's main business was finance. He was a money launderer. Many world figures and governments are involved. Is Trump blackmailing them? That's good. That's a good one. You take care of yourself. All right. Thank you, sir. All right, we'll go here. This is Dwayne. Hey, Dwayne, you're on the radio show, man. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Always a pleasure to talk with you, and I love your Saturday morning intro song.
Thank you.
We load it up in the car every time we go out to go take a lap or something. A couple of things with the Epstein. I believe, much like the layers on a rose or an onion, there's just too many things that they can just unravel simply.
Agreed. I agree.
And
with
I
you.
think that I really don't know if if there's no client list, then why is Miss Maxwell in jail?
Better question. Why is she still there? And she's doing 20 years, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like she's, got a chipped toenail or something. She's actually into something very difficult. Nobody needs to explain that.
She's in Florida in prison. She's doing 20. And if none of these things are true, according to the DOJ and the FBI and everybody else, then why is she in the joint?
That's my question. One of many. I want to go back to with Mr. Purifoy, who was the Corvette influencer back in the time, because he did help design the C4.
Yes, he did.
Corvette, But also the one thing, as you were speaking with radio with Mr. Martino, you can't go wrong with the GOAT, with Mike Rosen. There was a man who sat there and crushed an entire wave of liberal left center radio.
That's why I brought him up. That's why I brought him up.
I remember when. Oh, excuse me.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And when they had the 15 minutes after the hour Rockies upgrades, and there was the strike in '94, and I remember he turned on the sports guy and he said, "What? There's no change. They're on strike. Let's stop doing this." And the next day, the reports on the Rockies stopped. That's a lot of power for one guy to have on a radio station.
When Mike came into the business, he brought the conservative voice way before Limbaugh. And he obviously dominated mornings on KOA for, 20 years. So
easily.
Yeah, easily. No, you're right. Absolutely right.
And the thing is that sometimes lightning strikes early. And had Mike had a chance to do syndication at that point, I don't know if Rush would have had the same power.
No.
But Rush had a comedic bent to him, that of a top 40 jock. He wasn't sitting there saying, "Go."
I know what happened. Limbaugh jocked. His name was he jocked under the name of Jeff Christie. That was his jock name, and he was a top 40 disc jockey. He was in Pittsburgh, in fact, and he had 2 different gigs. He got fired 2 times in Pittsburgh, and I mean that's standard for the business.
I was going to say, yeah.
But he was Jeff Christie, and then he started this movement that they brought it here to KNUS, and KNUS was then beating KOA in the numbers, and the deals were made and struck, and the companies were put together, and they were brought and sold in syndication, and Clear Channel had the money, and they bought them and put them on the air, and that's really what happened. But everybody in this business owes Rush Limbaugh thanks.
Oh, he was the glycerin and the nitro to sit there and bring everybody out, and to sit there and at least allow them to cultivate a way to create and display themselves.
Whatever your beliefs are in this business, if you live on this side of the microphone, you owe Rush Limbaugh.
Oh yes, he's the secondary goat to everything. Locally, Rosen, but without Rush Limbaugh, I don't know if the country would be in the same place that it is at this time, even because he had such a cultural destruction to the left on everything. It was always one of those things.
He really did, and being on the inside when he was just this phenomenon that it rarely, if ever, happens, but it did. I watched it. So. No, you're spot on, but Mike came with a conservative voice, not way before, but years before Limbaugh, and Limbaugh was I think one of the secrets to Limbaugh was a disc jockey.
Exactly,
and he understood radio. He got radio, and it was one of the things that Martino was talking about was that a lot of these guys don't get radio. And so that's been the destructive end of the last 5 years of what's happened to this business. So,
and I believe radio will survive even with social media. I think that the radio stations now that you can own 144 stations and everything else, that's destroyed most of radio in its own briefing. But I believe that strong personalities and people like yourself and others are going to be able to maintain that. And as long as we're going to have the local voice, I think that's still clawing right now. I think the light's dim, but I believe we're going to sit there and have to bring back local voices because there's too many talented people.
There's a
lot.
And
one last thing, because you always give so many great pieces of advice. Just remember the most important thing is that boredom is nothing more than discomfort without a plan, and I think that'd be something you'd like to know.
And you can't be continuous. You can't. And what's happened, and this is my theory, we have one angry white guy followed by another angry white guy followed by another angry white guy, and that makes up talk radio, with some exceptions. And it just gets.
Well, what about Ken? Oh goodness, I just lost
you talking about Kenny Hamlin?
Yeah, Mr. Hamlin, yes.
Yeah.
No, Kenny, the man who had...
Yeah, he was the phenom. He was a conservative black voice. And that was...
And humorist.
Say again?
He was very much a humorist.
Oh, Kenny's funny. I mean, we still hear from one another time to time. He's... But the point of it is he was... he was the black swan. He didn't exist. He was the one of a kind. Good call. You know the business.
Always a pleasure, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah, I played off and on. Thank you so much for letting me on.
Thank you. All right, we need to turn around. We have one line open, 303-696-1971. I don't know if you watch drag racing or not, but Top Fuel racers, the dragsters, the pilots, they're amazing. And I know this guy. We've become really good friends, and I want to put him on the air and say, okay, can you explain to the audience what it's like? Greg Carrillo was with us. Tomorrow, Dr. Daddio. If you grew up in Denver, Daddio there was a black O&O, black owned and operated, KDKO. And and Brother Jeff and Daddy, and so Jeffrey's here with Daddy, and it's going to be a whale of a show. Really looking forward to it. With Martino breaking kayfabe this morning, that was super. All right, 93 will be the high. 303-696-1971. Hang on, 710 KNUS. Here we go. Thursday morning, everyone, 710 KNUS Denver's Talk Station. We have one line open, 303-696-1971. 93 the high, 85 on Friday, 710 KNUS. And you start to read this. The allies of Donald Trump have turned on the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, following that Justice Department announcement in Monday in that memo that no Jeffrey Epstein client list, no evidence to charge other individuals in connection with the case. Who do you think ordered her to write that? Let's go back to the phones. We go to Wyoming and Mary. Mary, you're on a radio show. Good morning. Thank you.
Good morning, Pete. One of the things that I'm surprised that you haven't mentioned yet is the Daily Mail yesterday posted an exclusive, and there are over 10 pictures
Yeah, I've seen it.
showing the rooms of CDs, records, rooms with safes, that the bedrooms, that were used.
Yep.
And that's still posted on their website right now. I mean, it is a huge. Showing physical evidence of what took place.
All right, now let's start again. First of all, I have seen that. Everybody seemed, if they turned at all in conservative radio, it seems to be the Attorney General is the target. Is she the true target?
No, I think that one of the things, I don't know why there's an echo. Do you have an echo?
No, I don't.
Oh, good. Okay. One of the things that I think is going on is that, yes, Trump promised all this in when he was running. I don't believe that they understood how deep this goes. I mean, imagine if those people had had compromised a third of our Congress. Imagine if all those world leaders, etc., even in their own administration, they're folks that had participated. I'm just saying, I think it got larger.
Last night, there was a journal piece where I read where Bondi promised that she would release, her choice of words, truckloads of documents from the FBI's investigation into Epstein. Once and again, in quotes, implied she had a list of Epstein's clients sitting on her desk waiting for her review. Now, it comes out and says this joint memo with the FBI, there's no credible evidence that this convicted pedophile blackmailed prominent individuals, no evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. Do you believe that?
No.
That's right.
No,
that's right.
I think it is a cover-up. In other words, I have to agree. As a MAGA supporter, I just think that this is bigger, and the consequences of bringing all these individuals up front could, I don't know, change the world politics. It could. There's so much. I think it is larger, and they find themselves in a bind because, like I said, if they are, I bet you there's huge donors. I mean, I just think it's larger than what they anticipated.
As I have said, this is a maximum example of what I witnessed on a micro during Players and Sugar. When Players and Sugar, when we broke that story, and it was this young city councilman who had just become the mayor. His name was Michael Hancock. Do you think for a split second that all the pressure that came down on the Post and Channel 9 and on KOA when I was working at KHOW and what the management there tried to do you think that was because of Michael Hancock or because of some pretty powerful advertisers, movers and shakers, a list of men that could go to what I called the deep city? That's what I think happened.
I don't disagree.
And can you imagine on this level where at one time Epstein said he was a CIA operative? I believe he worked for Mossad, But one of the weird things in the book I read about him, he had a legitimate, not fake, Saudi Arabian passport. I thought to myself, how do you do that? And he could have gotten away.
Power and greed. I almost wasn't going to bring this up, but sex and power, and those kinds of things that you experience with Players and Sugar.
Yeah,
they had that in Seattle. I was the investigator on that case, and it involved our local state. Senators. Sure. Judges, etc. It was in the Post-Intelligence. It was a big article at the time. This goes on all the time.
I told you
and it's every country, it's every state.
The Chief Justice of the federal court, and he would have girls delivered to his son's condo in Cherry Creek, and that's when Channel 9 tried to say, well, they had a limo and all this kind of stuff. They did not. They had an old beat-up SUV. Why are they driving a limo around Cherry Creek on Friday night? And they had. I met the guy. I met the guy that was the driver, and whatever the time frame was, where the guy bought, say, 45 minutes or an hour, whatever he bought. When it hit 1 hour, if that young woman was not out of that house, that man was going in. You didn't want that guy coming in. He was big. And that's how they did their jobs. And they had a background check on people. They knew who people were. Like I couldn't have walked up and knocked on the door, and they said, what? And I said, I'd like to buy a woman. They don't know me. They'd have told me, beat it. But so they had this list. This is what the client lists are. And I'm telling you, I'm sitting there watching it again last night before. I'm going, come on.
1 minute.
My point is that every state has one of those Players and Sugars going on. It's as old as, I want to say, as the world.
Of course.
And also, then you look at what Epstein did. His was worldwide. So you're looking at incredible graft.
He brought people
and blackmail.
Brought people to that island. Mary, good call. I like it a lot. Thank you very much. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do another turnaround. It is now 7:56. This will take us up to the news. We'll have a conversation with Blake, and then we'll be joined by top fuel pilot Greg Carrillo. Hang on, 710 KNUS.